Hello, and welcome to this edition of the EMS Spotlight. This is where we speak to EMS executives about their companies and the industries in which they operate. Our guest on this episode is Michael Velmeden. He is the CEO of CMS Electronics. As you will learn, CMS is an European-based EMS company, very impressive. It's a company I had the pleasure of visiting on one of my tours several years ago. And so I welcome the opportunity to speak with Michael today and to learn more about CMS. So, Michael, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come on here and speaking with me. Why don't you begin by introducing yourself and your company?
First of all, thank you that I have the opportunity to discuss with you. And starting to introduce, I think I should introduce a company because it's of more interest than my person itself, yeah? So CMS Electronics, you said it already, is what I would call a typical electronic manufacturing partner in Europe, because for four reasons. Number one is we started, as many of us, as a management buyout of a huge company. In this respect, there was Philips, and it was a former department of Philips in Austria, Klagenfurt. And it was in year 2003. Maybe you remember year 2003 was also a little bit a crisis for the electronic industry, especially in Europe. Yeah. It was a turndown of the mobile phones. Everything was pretty much stopped, and it was really a hard situation to start a new company, I have to say. Mm-hmm. Why we are typical again is our size and markets we are serving. We are a mid-sized company. We have around about 400 people employed. Turnover is close to 90 million. It was even better the years before, but it is not so easy yet in the markets. And we are serving mainly customers in Europe. That is also of importance. Mm-hmm. So our key customers are in Europe, and if so, we are selling overseas to Americas or to China. It's more because our key customer is in Europe, and the demand is then in other countries. Yes. The third point is why we are, from my point of view, really typical. We had good people on board with electronic and electronic process background, and for every one of them, we were searching a new home when we made the management buyout. And we used the capabilities of the people to start the EMS business, mm-hmm. which gave us a good opportunity to develop our company. And last but not least, what is also typical, we are not doing just electronic manufacturing purely. We also have the capability to serve our customers in sourcing, logistics, development, design. The only point which is a little bit weak, I think you will ask this later as well, is the last part, which is quite popular nowadays, is aftermarket service, which is not so strong. But the rest it is really the whole supply chain, which we are serving to our customers. A little bit coming to myself, as I said already, it was a management buyout. I have a background in electronics. I worked for different companies in Europe as a management director, always in the field of electronics, but never ever in electronic manufacturing service. That was the first point, first time period. Yeah. What I do beside that is I'm pretty much engaged in our industry. So I am the chairman of the group of electronic manufacturing and services within the German Electronic Association. And I'm also engaged locally in Austria in the Electronic Association to support our industry, to help our industry. I think these are the main key points.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, I looked at your history on your website before I spoke to you. And I noted that 2003 was the foundation of the EMS, but that it really dated back to 1962, as you said, when you go way back into the history of the company that you did the management buyout of.
Yes, but it's quite usual for Europe. You know that very well, because I would say you can say it very polite. It was a chance for the management. On the other hand, you can say also a little bit disrespectful. The big ones want to get rid of us. They were concentrating on the products, but not so much on the manufacturing side, which gave us good possibilities and good possibilities to develop ourselves.
Yeah. And I would note before I move forward that this was interesting to me that CMS stands for Corinthian Modules and Systems.
Yeah, but that was only to have something to explain to others. At the end, the intention behind was having a short company name, which just using some letters, not too much.
Not too many. Good, good. Now, listen, you mentioned the industry sectors, and I wanted to talk about the market. So, how do you see the demand evolving across your key end markets over the next 12 to 24 months?
Looking a little bit backwards, I would say, yes, it was pretty difficult because the last 3 years in Europe was more or less a recession, I have to say. It was quite difficult, depending a little bit on the market segments. And what I see today is a slight recovery. But I say slightly, because especially in the industry segments, they are coming up again. There are some interesting projects available. Unfortunately, I have to say, and this is a pity for us because we are pretty much engaged in the automotive sector. The automotive sector itself, it is still on a low level. And if I should judge it, I would say this will be the case for the future. I think we are on the normal level. I know many of us are expecting there will be a growth again, but for Europe, I can't see it, to be fair and honest. So this will be difficult. However, I see that the markets, additional to that, will have a change in the future. We see the global situation. We have 3 big areas. Between these big areas, Americas on one hand, Asia, not only China, but Asia on the other hand, is Europe, and Europe has to find his place in this picture. And I think that this will have an impact. What technologies will be available in the future? What will be the key factors for Europe? Where will be Europe strong? What will be weakened for the future? But I think there will be a major change. What we are doing, we try to figure out in which areas can we be successful for the future, and what we do, of course, we are looking forward to at least get a little bit rid of our huge automotive share and try to replace this with different industry segments. Not only defense, which each one is talking about defense, but it's not only defense. I see other areas as well. Europe will be strong in some niche businesses, will be strong in automation, equipment, other areas, but especially the huge serious business will not take place in Europe. That's my expectation, especially not in Western Europe.
Okay. Yeah, and I noticed that, on your site, the sectors that you, other than auto, are kind of the industrial, energy, and medical. And I would imagine what you're talking about is finding your niche markets within each of those larger segments and finding the particular products that you can bring expertise to.
Can you repeat it?
I said, it's for the other industry sectors that I see noted on your site, there's being industrial markets, or energy markets, medical markets, all good markets, right? It's a matter of finding and growing within those, is what I hear you saying.
Yes, and but we have to take into account as well that therefore it needs a change in our company itself and the organization. Because addressing different type of markets, you have also this has a big impact how our people work and how they will work in the future. Because every market segment has his different requirements, and we have to find ways how we can fulfill that. And it's a question also a little bit of mentality. You have not only changed, it's not the technique itself.
Yeah.
technology-wise, we are able and capable to do so, but to speak the same language, be able to communicate with these type of people, be aware of their requirements is really a challenge, and it's really something which has to be learned by our people, and not only learned, but also has a broad understanding for that markets. And that's not so easy.
Yeah. That's interesting insight. I hadn't thought of it that way. So thank you. So let me ask as a follow-up, if I think, what do you think are your core competitive differentiators today? And how do you see that kind of evolving versus other contract manufacturers in Europe primarily, but also, as you indicate, from Asia?
We have one, we are not the only one who offers this, but what we do have is we are in Europe, but not only in Western Europe. We have a location in Hungary as well, in Eastern Europe, which is of importance for us because just to be able to hit the price requirements and the price levels for our customers. But it's not the only one. What we did in the last years as well, we really took care that we are able and capable to serve the customers directly, beginning from the development, design, prototyping, and then offer them dedicated solutions for different electronic manufacturing services in the production. What do we mean with specific electronics services in production? Really addressing customers which are more concentrating on small series. We have a company in Germany which is more close to the customers, but it's a different rollout in the company. It's more like, let's see, a workplace or workshop, but really managed like that. On the other hand, we have Klagenfurt. It's a high-cost country. So what do? We have a high automation level, really high automation level. We try to figure out to avoid as much as possible any manual work. Everything is really driven by automation, by machineries. So to be able and capable to have a sufficient price. On the other hand, we have Hungary, which is more concentrated on mid-size volumes and large volumes as well. But there is a combination. We have their box building, we have manual work, and we have automated lines as well. So to really serve the customer from 3 locations individually, that's an advantage we have compared to some competitors in Europe. Yeah. Of course, it will not be in all cases competitive enough, taking into account you are in China, but taking into account Asia, seeing logistic cost, seeing the trouble you have with communicating with these guys, we are close by. Yeah. And what we have, and this is really a key for us, we are global. We have a global sourcing. We have a sourcing office in Hong Kong for Asia, sourcing office in China directly to be close with our suppliers. So we are close in that respect as well, and we can offer these sourcing services to our customers, which is really of importance. Yeah. Which another advantage we have is, as I said, I would judge us as a mid-sized company. This means you can talk to some of the customers, especially customers which will last in Europe more on the same level, face to face, because many of them are still owner-driven. It's a hands-on management, and that's what we can show to the customer as well. I see. Talking to him really face to face, which is an advantage. Yeah. It's not so easy. It's not so easy to sell, but at the end, I see it as an advantage for the future. It will be more and more of importance, especially nowadays, if you see how easily people really break contracts, how easily they talk about who is the strongest one, who is a weaker one. So if you are able to be on the same level, talking face to face is really an advantage and will be a business advantage for the future. Yeah.
So that's interesting because I wanted to ask about how you balance kind of potential global expansion with localized manufacturing requirements as you're speaking to smaller OEMs in the region. There are many more smaller OEMs than big OEMs, right? So there's a good business there. But I note that you have the business PCB Wiz, is it?
Yes, that's a totally different concept, but it's good that you asked me that. This is a little bit the idea behind this platform
Mm-hmm.
economy. What we are doing, we offer our customers for prototyping a platform. We have different partners in behind. So, and the basic idea is that that our customer or potential customer, independently, what time it is, can put his request on the platform. It is still not fully developed, but the idea behind is to have really IA
Yeah.
behind that to help him to finalize his request and then to be able, what we call, I must put it in brackets a little bit, instant quote. That
Okay.
really basic idea behind this, that we are able to give really an instant quote. You see our business, which is a really customized product business. It is not always as easy, but time is really the key behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the most important thing is the customer can does this absolutely independently.
Mm-hmm.
This company is hosted, the system is hosted in Europe. The company itself is based in China, to be fair and honest, because that's the
Mm-hmm.
easiest way to get, not in China, in Hong Kong,
You're
to
right.
get as easy as possible the material on board.
Mm-hmm.
And we have suppliers in Asia as well as in Europe.
Right. Okay.
So it offers a price advantage. It offers a speed advantage, I have to say.
Yeah.
And still, it is not as easy because to it really totally online
Mm-hmm.
without any people behind. I have to say, to be fair and honest, it's not the case yet. But it's a
Okay.
package. But it's a vision.
It's a
The
vision.
vision is it should be really a platform, and the platform should learn out of the requests and
Mm-hmm.
help the customer
Yeah.
to have to answer most technical questions
Yeah.
immediately by the system.
Okay. Yeah, to me, that's interesting. You've touched on a theme a couple times, that being automation and technology and AI here. So, how are you integrating new manufacturing technologies into your operations, and where do you see the biggest ROI out of that?
Asking, first of all, the direct question. The biggest investment I see in the future is how to integrate artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
Because what we did already, to be fair and honest, if you not only we as my partners, not competitors, wrong word, partners as well, is many of us are running on a high automation level.
Mhm.
Obviously, nearly everyone is using robots nowadays. Maybe not cops, but robots in the system. So they're very intelligent. If you see AI in some of our systems, like the optical systems, they are self-learning systems. So you're using AI. It's not our work. It is what we are buying in the market. But nevertheless, that's what we have. We have some AI in terms of what you usually do in the shop floor, like things like in the repair area to see how can you immediately identify machinery equipment, what is their status level, is there any repair necessary, how can I save some time, how I can do some maintenance, pre-maintenance. But what I see for the future is especially looking in the indirect stuff. If we see the indirect stuff, because this is the cost burden we still have today,
Mhm.
overhead cost. I'm
Right.
pretty sure we can solve and reduce overhead cost using AI in different sections. What we are using already is we are using an AI-based system in the quoting department.
Mhm.
We are using AI in the planning department for planning purposes. And I'm pretty sure it can be used even, and this is a really demanding area if you see the whole procurement area, logistic.
Yeah.
This is a huge area, and I think it is quite cost intensive to do this, and especially it needs a huge amount of communication. Communication, because if you process things automatically through the supply chain, you need more trust. That's what we saw. Just remember the huge stock levels we maintained not long ago. So you need a trust level. You must trust each other. You must have a clear picture what is really ordered. Nowadays, it's still, I think, after the last 2 years, many of us are healed, and they are very careful to use just automatic driven systems. Yeah. But this will be the key for the future.
Okay. Yeah. And to that end, I mean, I wanted to ask about operational performance because, you know, a lot of people, AI automation is intended to improve your operations, obviously, and make you perform better and at better quality. So what are your top priorities for operational excellence over the next year?
I would say the same as I said before. If you purely go into the electronic manufacturing operations, we did a lot. We have the systems in place. We did really a lot. I think the typical part will be then if you come to the procurement side, if you are discussing box building, especially box building, which is becoming more and more an advantage if you are able and capable to do so. And if you're a mid-sized electronic manufacturing company, procurement in box building is a key. And if I'm talking about procurement, I mean especially to get the right materials on board, because company our size can't be an integrated company. We do not have the plastic manufacturing in our hands. We do not have the mechanical manufacturing in our hands. So we need good partners and very good systems to do this. And therefore, in that area, I see AI as a key to support us, to have the right drawings available, to have the right requests in place. I think this is a key element. Purely the manufacturing side we have on our shop floor systems, I think, especially in that area, the EMS industry did a lot. I think you saw many companies, and it's always surprising to see which integrated level they have already and which systems they are using.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think, and I remember your facility with a lot of automation, and I think that is the normal state of the EMS industry nowadays. Although more is trying to be done in the post reflow, right? The more labor intensive hand assembly, those types of things. I think that
Yeah,
remains a challenge.
but especially if you say post reflow, or already there you will find many systems.
Oh yeah.
Because what they are doing, even if you see, it depends on the volumes you are running, but you see many things like if I see our testing equipment, what we are running, it is especially that area where we have automated systems, where we're using the robots, where we're using robots, even I call them single manufacturing or testing areas, where we not only test one product, where we test many different products with different systems, and we're using AI, or we're using automatic loading, even also program loading for the testing systems. So, but you are right. That's a good point. That is really an area where you can do even more.
Yeah. I think, and that's come now. You've mentioned a few times the importance of the people, and you know, I think that gets lost. People see that balance between automation and people, but and what you were saying is that really at people at a higher level too, right? And even to understand the cultures in the new industry sectors that you're going to. So how are you addressing those if it's a shortage or if it's a skill gap in advanced manufacturing and automation, how are you able to get those people?
First of all, internally we have a apprentice training and program for our people. So we have really trained our people ourselves. Secondly, what we did to have a continual, what we call lifelong learning, we have a program employs what we call click and learn. And the idea behind this, if we identified one area, we try to do it, what it is nowadays, offline, and put it in a system so the operator is responsible to click on the video or on the program and learn and do the learning by himself. And this will be controlled. And the third point is where we're more talking about excellence, not so much training, not so much how can the people be educated on the lower level. We are talking about training and especially identify and develop the specialists. We have a program working together with the local University of Applied Science and try to train people there. What we do, we give our people the freedom to go to university. It's called evening university. Evening, it's not really that they are the only on evening, but for example, have 1 day or 2 days off per week to develop themselves and to get a higher grade or specialize. Sorry. Now I lost my word.
What you're talking about, what to really specialize in a particular new.
Yes, specializing themselves. Yeah. So
Right.
it's not only the idea get higher grades. It's more to dig into an area where we're not common with. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's, I think, the challenge, and that's the upskilling that people talk about in the industry that's necessary as more things become automated, as AI becomes, how do we use these tools? And that's a different level of performance than this old, type
Just to get a little
machines.
bit of insight into that, I have to say we are in the lucky situation that the southern area of Austria is pretty much dominated by electronics industry. And not only electronics, also by electronic-based systems. And we have a really broad offer of institutions which supporting this. We have a Fraunhofer Institute. We have a local institute which is out of the university, which offers a services, development service and design service, more than 350 engineers. So, and this is a very good ecosystem which we can benefit from. It is reason for that is it's really a long-lasting electronic competence in the southern part of Austria.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a
interesting.
little bit. It's not the same. It's maybe not the same as Silicon Saxony in Germany, but it's pretty much close by.
Yeah.
So we have an institution available which is concentrating on AI. We have an institution here close by which is really working with robotics. And we have different research institutions which are working on different areas and fields.
Excellent. Now, I know one of the big issues within the industry has been the ESG, the environmental, social, and governance, pieces. So, how are ESG goals influencing your customer contracts and maybe also your capital allocation?
It's a difficult question, I have to say, because first of all, some of these goals are really crucial for the future. We have to save energy, and that's what we did. Every time. We also saved the environment. Industry is a key for that and was a key for that over the last years. But what we did, especially in Europe, which is different from other regions, we add a huge amount of bureaucracy on that. That's the problem. And the really sad thing is that our customers doing the same. They are putting everything into contracts and want to solve a problem just via paper. Say this fair and frankly. And this is quite difficult because the customer requirements, even so the legal requirements have significantly changed. Now they are concentrating, in the past they were concentrating on everything to reduce everything. Now they are talking about how can we come back to growth, concentrating on the growth side. But nevertheless, in our customer requirements, we will find really unchanged demands which are not fulfillable. This is difficult. On the other hand, we have to find ways how to solve this. And again, I think especially AI is one of the key issues. You come to that, but what I said before, we have to fair requirements. We have to look to have fair requirements on our contracts.
Yeah. No, and that's good. And I wanted to ask you about that, and that leads right into my next issue, which is about the challenge that your customers are expressing most often to you, other than what we've just been talking about within the ESG realm. From what are those challenges that customers express most often, and how are you positioning solutions to address them?
The biggest challenge is today that customers, on one hand, ask for a huge flexibility. Even so, we are discussing a customized product. They want to be as flexible as possible on one hand, but they will never ever give you binding forecasts. So what they do expect, you should be able to deliver within a very short period of time on one hand. On the other hand, they are not willing to pay for any stock levels or anything else. No way. Even so, this is really in contradiction to the current market situation. That's what we learn, taking into account what the lead times are with the different type of products. Very often, if you have some ASIC products, easily lead times are 26 to 50 weeks. So imagine this. It doesn't fit to each other. The only thing what you can do, and now you're on the contractual side again, you can go to the customer, try to discuss logistic concepts with them. And you put the finger into the wound and you have to discuss this with them. If not, you are done. It's the same like we discussed with the EG requirement. If they are realistic, okay. If they are unrealistic, it's impossible. And it's the same in that respect. And this is what we are doing pretty much. But this is a really huge task for our salespeople, for the development, the business developers, as well as our account managers, because they have to be close with the customers and they have to find a good way how to balance this.
Right.
Of course, we have to understand the customer needs as well, and then we have to figure out what can we do. What we try to do is, and that's our concept, we try to do to synchronize each customer with his demands with a supplier within the supply chain. So we try to find different concepts, and what we do as well, we have different concepts with our suppliers as well, sometimes per customer.
Oh, okay.
So getting a little bit rid of just talking, especially for distribution, it's a really difficult thing, but it's possible, but it costs a lot of effort.
Yeah. And that's, you mentioned early on, and I wanted to follow up on it too, about, EMS have always been looking to get beyond just PCBA and to expand their suite of services. And as you said, you are a typical full service type of EMS company, but maybe you have room to grow in the aftermarket area. So do you see your opportunities for CMS to expand in these new value-added services?
First of all, I think the most important area for us is the development and design. Find a good way how to support the customer with development and design, and I see this as a chance for the future, because if you see what will happen in Europe, which companies are available, many of them will miss electronic competence. They have an idea,
Mm-hmm.
they know about the market, but they need someone to help them to develop the product, finally develop. It means obviously the customer has the clue how the product should look like.
Mm-hmm.
They even are able to identify key elements, but nevertheless, they need someone to do this. And this means for us, we have to understand the customer purposes, and is really demanding, because if you are in different areas, you have to be very careful. Different areas have different requirements and you can't serve everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, we try to concentrate on some areas and looking for customers which we can serve in these areas, so that we are not really be forced to work in too many fields with different requirements which we are not understand.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is to expand our development and design capabilities, combined with the understanding of the markets we are serving.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you said it already, if you're talking a little bit about life cycle management, I think this is really a weakness, maybe not only for us, but for many of the EMS companies. Life cycle means we have to figure out what will be really aftermarket, what will happen aftermarket, how can we serve aftermarket products.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, yes, this is an area we have to develop further. We are not very, it's not so easy because we were not used to that.
Mm.
Even the contracts do not reflect this.
Oh, interesting.
Because if you see contracts, yes, customers are quite easy. Say they are talking about for how long you have to serve them with products, but that's not a business concept. That is just a contract you're working, because you have to figure out what are really the concepts behind. And what we try to do is we are working on some concepts. What can we offer to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Not only the writing. Yeah, it's easy to say, hey, you have to take care that the product is for the next 10 years available.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, are you able to get the components? Can you store the components? What can be done? But the more important thing is, much more important is, what is your business concept you offer the customer then?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just fulfill the contract, it's just fulfilling a contract. It's not a business concept.
Yeah.
And this is a weakness. I have to admit, I have really to admit, we are not very strong at that.
Yeah. I appreciate you making that distinction between the two, because those are two very different approaches, right? If you're just fulfilling a contract, whether or
One is fulfillment.
yeah,
Yes, we are able to, with the fulfillment, we are not bad.
yeah,
But you asked for what is really a key, what are opportunities, what is added value. And added value is only if you have proactively concepts in place that you can sell.
okay.
We have this for development already, design. We have this. We have an own company for that. We have really designed a company for that. But for the aftermarket, you need a concept as well. You can't put it just in the. You can't put such a thing not in the normal business.
Yeah. So let me ask then, considering all that you've shared here so far today and where CMS is today and how CMS is structured, how do you prioritize kind of capital allocation then between capacity expansion, technology upgrades, and possibly even M&A?
It's quite a simple question. Technology we did always. It's part of our business planning and the standard, because that's the key. That's what we did in the past. We were always looking what is really, which technology is on the market, what the customer is asking for. That's really something I think many of our partners in the markets are doing the same. This is key. This is what our people are trained for. More difficult is capacity is also not such a question. The more interesting question is what you asked is how you balance capacity and M&A.
Mm-hmm.
M&A can be, it's a key for us, and we are looking for M&A because if you're looking for a new location, it's always wise to look, can you partnering with someone? It's more wise than just putting money into that. And sometimes it's more wise than just expand one location. So what we have internally, we said, okay, we always define the common size for one location and say it should not be bigger. So at this moment in time, what we're looking for, we look for another location or partnering in Eastern Europe, because our market is more or less Europe, and we are really stick to Europe to be really also in the future competitive on one hand, but on the other hand, not sticking only to one location. It's always critical. You need a location, you need a critical size of one location, but it's too big. It can be a burden as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So if you ask me, capacity is really not independent from M&A, it belongs together. Right. Technology is different. Technology means, that's what we did in the past. Technology means very often as well an expansion of capacity, but inherent. Yeah. It means not more people, it means just more productivity, more output, and everything like that. And that's just something we are doing always. Okay,
good. Before we end this, and I appreciate you staying on so long with me and sharing your time and your insights, two kind of forward-looking questions. What is your outlook for 2026 for EMS? And then as a follow-up, what will success look like for your organization, say 2 to 3 years from now?
Number one is quite easy because we have a budget. We know where we are. Yeah. And luckily we were in 2005, which was at the beginning of the year pretty much demanding. We performed significantly better. So it was for us a good, at the end, not a wonderful year, but a good year, a stable year. And we anticipate for this year the same levels, so to be profitable, healthy, profitable, which is good for us. And we are using this a little bit to really try to support the transformation we are in, going a little backwards from the automotive market, which means we will lose at the end sometimes a little bit turnover, but having a better turnover with a different market customer share. Yeah. That's what we did last year already, and we are looking forward to going further with that. Yeah. Looking into the future, it means, yes, we have to grow. Without growth, it's impossible. Some of these I pointed out already. We are looking for more capabilities, maybe another location is one point. And if you ask me what is the success we are looking for in 3 years, of course, higher turnover, a different customer share and market segment share, which means in reality, as I pointed out before, automotive was very strong for us. So our intention is to bring automotive below 40%. So now you can get a flavor. In our later years, we were close to 80%. Just to get a little bit flavor. And the industry segment should be above 60%. Gotcha. And this is the target we want to achieve in the next coming 3 years, but combined with growth. Yeah. Excellent. I think I hope this answers your question pretty much.
No, that's a very good vision, and it makes complete sense, and it's consistent with everything you've said.
Well, one last point is what I can't judge in this moment in time, and our thesis in the markets and with our customers, everything is pretty much driven by short-term approaches. Even if I look into the markets and our customers, no one is really willing to share ideas for the future. We see this in big companies like AI. They have plenty of ideas, but if you look into the, let's see, really hands-on businesses,
Mhm.
you see everyone is really carefully what will happen in the next time, what will be the
Mhm.
political situation, what
Yeah.
will happen with the tariffs, what will happen with the different areas. All this is a huge uncertainty, and we see this in our customer discussions as well. I see this discussing with my colleagues. I see this discussing in the industry groups. It's
Mm.
everywhere the same. And I think this will be a burden which at least lasts for the next years as well.
Yeah.
There is a dramatic change in the global world.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we are facing.
Right.
Nevertheless, that's our job. That's what we have to face,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to handle and manage.
Yeah. I think that's well said. There's global uncertainty, but business goes on, right? And it must go on for these companies. And it's finding your way is a little more challenging, but it's still required. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, good. Michael, thank you for your time. I've enjoyed this very much. I always enjoy conversations where I come out feeling smarter than when I started the conversation, and this is one of those. So thank you.
I can't imagine that, Eric. You know these
No,
things
no.
very well. You had so many discussions already. I
Uh,
think you've heard many of this stuff,
well,
uh,
it's a good thing because
not only
2026.
today, but the days before as well.
Yeah, but 2026 will be a very interesting year for the industry, for the world, as you said, but also for this industry, right? There's been a lot of down. There's a lot of optimism still for, moving forward, but um, we'll do this again in the future and we'll check in and see how it's progressing.
Okay, looking forward.
Very good.
Thanks
Michael,
a lot.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.